I'm back. I took a couple of days off. Thank you for letting me do that. I had a lot to think about, and I like to give some things the 24 to 48 hour rule, sometimes 72 depending on the situation. We did that. I am back with a lot to say today, so don't go anywhere. I'm bringing you part 2 of my dealership saga. I know a lot of you have been blowing me up, want to know where it was, what went on. A lot of advice coming from people. Stick in there. There's a lot to cover. And then the whole Kyle thing, the shootings, everything that's going on, there's a lot to be said there. I've got a lot to say, and I've got a lot of good input. Can't wait to tell you guys about it. I'm Jared. This is RedRacer Video, formerly a car vlogger. Now I'm an independent citizen journalist, thanks to you, the viewers. You make this all possible by donating to Patreon, PayPal, or Venmo. 3 links in the description. And by purchasing our unmasked t-shirts from RedRacerVideo.com. Also a link in the description for those. Check those out. Men's large, extra large are basically not a thing anymore. Thank you everyone for overloading us. Women's, some of the sizes are getting tough. We've got a lot more coming and new designs coming, hoodies coming. I know you guys have asked for a lot of stuff. It's coming. So hang in there. Thank you everyone for the overwhelming support and the demand for what we're doing. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start off kind of with the dealership stuff, I would say. Probably is where I think we need to go first because of the response to that, just like the response to the shirts has been, I almost got choked up for a second, but I'm going to handle this, right? It's been overwhelming. The support from everyone on this channel has been phenomenal, and it makes me feel so incredibly inspired and optimistic about the future, about where we're headed. I know that the picture gets painted that we're all overwhelmed and that the bad is winning and just everything is bad. And while everything is bad and there are bad things, there is a lot more support for us and for the people that think like us and behind this movement than I think a lot of people could ever realize. So again, I wanted to thank everyone to the support, for all the comments, for all the advice. Really quickly also to all of the legal representatives and all of the attorneys and paralegals. And I got a lot of emails from people like that. So if I didn't get back to you, thank you for reaching out. I am still very grateful for your willingness and your advice. But I could only get back to so many people. There's a couple that I've kind of sort of got the wheels in motion, so to speak, with. So no offense, but to anybody still reaching out, it probably will fall on deaf ears, but don't take that as me not appreciating what you're offering. I do. So thank you to everybody who did that. So getting back to the way things went down, and the reason I kind of didn't do a video for a day and a half was largely in part because on a couple of different subjects. Again, the shootings that have gone on, largely in part Kyle. For those that don't know who Kyle is, you probably know the name now. And with my whole situation being asked to leave a dealership because I couldn't wear a mask inside of a dealership. I wanted to be very, very careful about the things that I said about those two things. But as the last couple of days have gone on, there's nothing else coming out that I feel more inclined to speak on than those two things. Having stated those things, I feel like what I say about these next two things carries a lot of weight. Not because I think I'm a big time or anything, but because I know there's a good chance that somewhere between 30,000 and 190,000 people probably watch this video. And I don't take that lightly. First thing I want to cover, like I said, is the dealership thing. And what happened in the last day and a half was I spoke with the owner of the dealership. I wanted to give the store, either general manager or ownership, an opportunity to discuss with me what had happened. So I didn't want to go, I didn't want to go and create a bunch of problems without the people that really, in my opinion, have a say, could give me their side of it, whatever would come from the conversation. So I reached out, asked them to reach out, and they did. Again, not using names because at this point, I'm going to be careful still, and I'll get into a little bit of why, but I wanted to tell you first how that conversation went. I'm going to say going into this, you're getting Jared's side of this conversation. So for what it's worth, a lot of this stuff will probably be geared toward the way that the conversation made me feel. And that probably resulted in the things that I retained from the conversation. So you are only hearing one side, but I am going to try to be as forthright as I can be about the conversation. I don't remember how many minutes it was. I'd have to look at my phone now, and I'm recording with it, so I can't. But it was probably a 10 to 15 minute conversation. I will start off by saying I am proud of, I don't know if that's the right word. I acknowledge that the owner of this dealership made the tough call. He was courteous at every point in the conversation. I probably got less courteous than him, not because I was rude or swore at him or was crazy or anything like that, I don't think. I'm just passionate, and you guys have seen my videos. Even when I think I'm staying really even keel, I do get louder, I do get more animated, and my face becomes more red. That's what I do. But for what it's worth, this gentleman did a very good job of keeping his cool, sticking to the issues, circling back to, you know, how can, you know, what is it you need, maybe kind of a thing. But having said all of that, this is how the conversation went from Jared's side of things. I feel like I did all the, right? I did all the see it from both angles things. But now I'm just going to give you Jared's side of it. I got zero resolution. Zero. I essentially was told we have to do what the city tells us to do. And we as a store have made our decision. And our decision is that if you can't wear a mask in our store, and he did say, Jared, we didn't kick you out. We didn't make you leave the store. We asked you to go outside, which sounds an awful lot like kicking me out. But in fairness, his stance was that we were just asking you to go stand outside instead of inside. I live in a desert. It was like 95 degrees that day. It was very hot. I would not have gone outside and passed out or anything. But in fairness, his argument was that I, as someone with a legitimate reason not to wear a mask, a medical exemption that is a reason for me not wearing the mask, that they cannot ask me about, as a result of that, that dealership decided that their stance on that was going to be that those people, the people who cannot wear a mask because it makes it hard to breathe, those people would go sit outside in 95-degree heat in a desert, as opposed to being able to stay inside and enjoy the luxuries like modern conveniences of air conditioning. That, in my mind, would make things for somebody who has a hard time breathing, would make things easier for me. So what I heard, what I, Jared, the guy in the situation, took from the gentleman who owns this dealership and other dealerships, his stance was that they did the right thing still. They're doing everything they can to accommodate everyone, and that I should have just gone outside. Fair enough, dude. My stance on it is that's the dumbest thing I've heard. I don't know how somebody with that mentality owns a dealership. You're kneeling. You are kneeling. And I said this to him, so this isn't news. I told the dude, you're kneeling. Whether you believe it or not, you're kneeling. He made it very clear, I've got to make a decision for 100 and so many some odd employees. I better not use the exact number because that would make things a little more obvious. He basically said, you know, I made the decision, or we as a company have made this decision to do what's best for our employees. So I think now maybe he finds out if that's the best decision for his employees. He made the decision that it was best to kick somebody outside, make it harder for them to breathe if they have a breathing problem. When again, I could social distance. I won't beat yesterday's video, 2 days ago video up. There was no reason. I was nowhere near anybody at any point. The only time I was when I was near his managers who had their masks on incorrectly. Fast forwarding now, that's just where we ended up. I didn't even get an I'm sorry until I asked for it. Another thing that I want to tell everybody out there, I didn't ask for a check. I didn't ask for money. I didn't say I'm going to ruin your life. I wasn't threatening anything. But I did tell him, you know, I'm afraid we're going to have to find out who the a-hole in this situation is, you or me. Now, moving on to the next subject of it, and then we're going to go on to the next subject completely, but the legal side of stuff. And again, thank you to the outpouring of support legally from people. Thank you. That was a stressor. And that stressor has been removed because I now know my options. And I've had a couple of different people that I, again, now have gone hours of phone calls into that I feel pretty confident about my options. I don't want to destroy this dealership. I don't. Part of me does. Part of me absolutely does. Part of me is with a lot of you in the comments that said they are not your friends. Screw those people. Give it to them. There's a lot of people still in that building that do not agree with what happened. Some of them have reached out to me because they've gotten wind of it. And they've said, I'm sorry that happened. I can't believe that happened. I'm stunned that after you mentioned the medical thing, that still happened. There have been numerous, more than I can count on one of my hands, and I have all 5 of my fingers. So, I mean, I've got an outpouring of support from people inside of this store. So there's a part of me that just really, really is not okay laying the hammer to this store and letting all of those people suffer because the ownership of this store doesn't have a spine and they're choosing to kneel. I don't feel like I should go and crush all of these people because of that. I just can't help but shake that feeling. So what I'm trying to accomplish is a couple of different things, and these are kind of my options. And I would love, again, for your comments in the description or in the body down here. Go and leave me comments. Also, I haven't said this yet, and I should have because a lot of you already left. Please like, please subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure the bell next to subscribe is on so you get my notifications, because even if they are, you won't get them sometimes. And leave a comment before you go. But on the comments on this one, I want to know what you guys think about where we're about to go. These are my options. This is what's on the table. And I want you guys to think with your hearts a little bit here, not just let's stick it to the man and let's make an example, which, for what it's worth, I do want to do. I do want to make an example of this. And what I told the owner of this dealership, I will say really quickly also, I don't want to hurt a bunch of people, and I don't just want to get rich. I don't need that. I've never wanted to be rich. I want to provide my kids an excellent life and spend a lot of time with them and teach them to be good humans. That's my goals. Like, they're very, very probably simple to some people, but I feel like I could probably go get $500,000 to $1 million based on the conversations I'm having with my attorneys fairly easily, with me not spending any money on attorneys up front. They would all be just there, come out at the end. I walk away with a lot of money. That wouldn't be enough. That wouldn't be the solution. This dealership wouldn't be hurt by that. I know how dealerships work, and I know that this store could absorb that over their number of stores over a number of months. And would it suck? Absolutely. But it wouldn't really deliver the message. So Jared would come out getting my money, but that's, again, that doesn't really help anyone but Jared. And believe it or not, that's not what I'm after at all. I get no resolution from that. What I told the owner was that I wanted him to rewrite his policy so that never happens again. And he basically said no. He basically said, again, I have 100 and so many blah, 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 and we've come to a decision that this is where we're at. People in your situation just to get to go wait outside. Sounded an awful lot like people in your situation just to get to ride in the back of the bus. Sounded an awful lot like people in your situation have to drink from that water fountain. That's what I heard. And that's what legal representation heard as well. So, again, back to what we're dancing between here. Another scenario here is, and this is what I would like to try and achieve, and this is what I'm trying to kind of come up with here. And I would love your feedback one more time down below. I would like a scenario where I maybe do get some cash because I have some really cool plans on what to do with that money that would absolutely help all of us. Would I buy myself like a cool pair of shoes or something out of the deal? Absolutely. But I've got some really good ideas where we could tag them and it would benefit all of us because that's my goal. But again, I want a scenario where I get an apology for one, and not for myself, but for all of the people in the comments who felt as wronged by what happened to me as everyone else. I wouldn't necessarily need that to be public because if I can keep this store from being damaged, or not the store, but the people who work there from being damaged and all this, it's a win-win. Again, I want to win for everyone. I'm not looking to hurt. I don't need a vendetta here. I would like for the policy to be written in this store where nobody has to deal with this ever again. I would like a written apology from this store where no one has to ever get hurt again. And if I can do all of that where the store doesn't get hurt and all those things happen, I would do that. But I also at this point think that because I would at this point be legally represented, and once we send letters and stuff, I am legally represented, as part of the corporate world and as part of things, money just becomes a part of the deal. So I would be okay with a scenario where some money is exchanged because the attorneys will have to get paid for. I'm not paying for them. So now the store, unfortunately, you've made this decision. You'll get to pay for them. But I would not like to publicly destroy everyone involved. But unfortunately, I do think there will be some other things that happen. But I think we can do it in a scenario where it's a win-win for society, which is what I'm after. No one will ever be asked to leave this store again based on a mask going forward. That is what I want. And after my conversation, again, I didn't feel that way. I hope you guys feel like that's good. Let me know down below what you think. A little bit of money is going to have to be exchanged now because the attorneys are involved. And I was wronged. I did get made feel like a turd. I was a little bit embarrassed. And those are things that legally are going to happen now because the attorneys will want to get paid. But I will make sure that in the event, I do not go damage as many people as I can, and I make it so that you all win in this. I will make sure that the residents of Salt Lake County are affected less by this going forward. That is my goal in all of it. And I hope that you guys can appreciate that I'm not divulging the name of all of the people involved. I hope that you understand why. Moving on. I never thought that would take 14 minutes or whatever, but it did. One more thing I want to talk about. There's been a lot of messages and things directed at myself and the people in my movement, not my movement, our group of people, which is nonviolent, help everyone, but stand up for yourself and believe in our country and love our country for what it's worth. A lot of people coming to us and saying, have you seen about Kyle? Oh my gosh, Kyle. Real quick, guys, again, in my last video, we touched on this a little bit. Kyle's the 17-year-old in Kenosha that was standing up for himself, businesses, people he cared for. He was under attack, and he started firing, and he killed, I think the guy that got shot in the head got killed. I haven't gone back and looked. It's a little bit hard for me to really deal with all of it, if I'm being totally honest with you. But he shot a lot of people, and he is now going to be charged with murder. I must say, and this is again going back to the beginning of the video, why I didn't just come out and start really pushing this. And there's some people that really want me to really, you know, I was real close to donating to his defense. You know, I think, sorry, the name, Vin Jones. Dang it, I can't remember the name of the attorney that's offered to take his case and defend him. This person would not offer to take his case and defend him if he didn't think that this gentleman was either innocent or the presumption of innocence was very, very obviously defended. But there's a lot of people that want to fund to this and want us all helping push to fund to this. And I'm just being a little reluctant yet. I do believe that based on everything so far that I have seen, what Kyle did, he was justified in doing. He was absolutely under attack from these people. The people saying, you know, he shot a guy in the head and was shooting it. At what point can someone defend themselves? You know, you can't wait until you're bleeding, dying. Okay, now deadly force. No. This is how this works, and this is where you guys have got to wake up. Not you guys, the people on the other side of it, the people maybe trying to really like, oh, I just wish nobody could get hurt. Sounds nice, doesn't work. As soon as those people are approaching us, screaming, yelling, swearing, they have skateboards, they have whatever, and we have seen what we have seen on the news. A Trump supporter was just assassinated in the street. We can defend ourselves the second we feel like we are in harm's way. As soon as we think we may be in danger, our life may be in danger, we can then defend ourselves. That doesn't mean we shoot someone in the toe and hope they stop. And that's not what you're taught. People keep getting put in these situations, and then they're expected to come away from these like they're a trained police officer, trained in de-escalating a situation. No. They're a citizen with Second Amendment rights defending themselves, and they think that they could very potentially end up like the guy who got assassinated, or like the children who've been killed, or like the men and women who've been killed, or like the businesses that have been destroyed. We have been shown that Black Lives Matter and Antifa mean business, and they will kill. They will do anything to push what they are doing, which is fear, and make honest, good, heartfelt citizens who love this country not stand up for themselves for fear of being hurt by these mobs. You can't ask those people to be peaceful anymore. You can't. And we won't be. And I've said this before, and I will say it one more time yet again, because again, guys, I get a lot of messages and videos about Kyle and about the dealership stuff, and we're going down all these paths again for a reason. But I'm going to say one more time, I do not condone violence. I do not ever and will not ever tell someone to go out in look of or in search of violence. But you cannot tell people that are defending the towns that they actually live in, that they're defending that town from people who come from other states to peacefully protest / kill people, burn down buildings. You can't ask those people to sit back and watch these things happen anymore, and they're not. They're not happening anymore. Even the Democratic mayors are now having to acknowledge and go in and stop these things because now they're seeing that it's affecting their poll numbers. Black Lives Matter, and to all these people, and they're issuing the warnings. They're even saying they're coming to my state like next week. I've got to go do some more research, but I heard it from a family member that they're coming here. It's not going to go well. It's not. People aren't laying down anymore. In Utah, of all states, I'm not going to go out looking for trouble, but if it gets close enough to my home, and I think that I speak for the vast majority of Utahns when I say that if it gets too close to our homes, it will be just like Kyle, except it won't just be 17-year-olds. I know there are people who live right down the street from me that have no balls whatsoever and they own dealerships. But that doesn't mean that the silent majority will take this sitting down or take this kneeling. We are going to stand up and we are going to make our case heard. We are not violent people, and you should be able to see by this video, I don't even want to make someone that works at a store lose their job over this. I would love for the people to be able to keep their jobs, but still get kicked in their balls, at least the ownership and management, like I did when I got asked to leave their store. Stand up for yourselves, folks. Unmasked, RedRacerVideo.com. One final thing I want to say because of a very good friend. I do not think that everyone that wears a mask is a moron. I know I have put forward that image. I know I have said things that make people think so. I apologize. If you need to wear a mask because it makes you more comfortable, if you need to wear a mask because you have a condition, if you are one of the high-risk people, I am sorry if you have felt attacked from my videos. I admit I have done that and I could do better. But if you are one of those people and you are demanding that I wear a mask because of it, I am telling you to kiss my butt. And you are part of the problem. Somewhere in the middle is the reality. If you need a mask, cool, but don't make me wear one. Unmask, RedRacerVideo.com. Go buy one of my shirts. We got more coming, more designs coming. Thank you, everyone. More videos tomorrow. We're finishing the month off strong. The best month I've ever had on YouTube. I love you and I thank you. Thank you for the support. I love you guys so, so much. Jared, RedRacer Video, I'm out.